What is up, YouTube? Jonny B here again today. We're going to be bringing you a new series on a 2010 Evolution 10. This is a car that you guys have seen on the channel before, so I saw that you guys really liked watching those videos of me modifying my friend's EVO, so we ended up getting one ourselves. This Evolution behind me was actually from my friend slash neighbor that he has been building it since he bought it brand new in 2010. And if you look at it from the outside, the car looks completely stock, but what he did do is a lot of performance parts. So the car was making around 500 wheel horsepower before, the incident happened, where a girl or some lady, we'll just say somebody random, don't really know the name of the person, actually T-boned him as he was driving, the car normally, and literally smashed in this driver's side all the way in. It was pretty bad. What it did is it ended up shifting the frame rails right at the tips a little bit, damaging most of the components that are in the front, so I'm gonna have to replace all that stuff. But the engine and transmission is all intact. So what we're gonna be doing is trying to bring this thing back to life and start driving it again. Without further ado, let's start taking it all apart so we can assess what parts we need. If you're looking to get yourself this Mishimoto intercooler, make sure you go ahead and hit me up. It's new, never been opened. It is in perfect conditions. So make sure if you want to up the boost on your EVO and get more power out of it, make sure you DM me to pick this baby up. guys can see, the engine is in pretty good conditions. None of my accessories actually broke, none of them got damaged. The oil filter is still fine, which is right behind this piece of the frame. But apart from little things like, for example, this is the connector to the throttle body that just kind of snapped off, so that's not good. And then this motor mount, I'm pretty sure this motor mount's not supposed to be slanted sideways like that, so that's probably going to be an issue there. Oh yeah, my oil dipstick, I can't really get it off anymore because that thing broke. And then this motor mount right here, if you look at this little area, looks like a bolt went there, so I'm pretty sure that that's supposed to be together and supposed to be where this bolt is at, but it's not. All right, so now the point where we are at is that the engine is now fully out, as you guys can see. I had to go ahead and take off all the connections to the engine, the wiring harness, the turbo connections, the oil lines, everything. So the easiest way that I found to remove the engine was to literally just drop the whole subframe and then drop the engine onto the cart and just pull it out. That part was a bit difficult because I was by myself, so it was kind of sketchy at the same time because of the way the cart was. I figured out that the cart was missing a bolt that was keeping the table from leaning. Got that fixed. The engine is now out on the table. So now that we got that out, I was able to go ahead and chop off all the frame parts that were bent. So luckily, I went to Mitsubishi and I looked through their parts list and they had part numbers for all of those things. So that was pretty cool. So if I wanted to buy one of the frame rails, they could literally sell it to me. But I'm gonna try to see if I can find the whole front, just someone to send me like the front clip, chop it off, ship it to me, weld it back on. So let me show you guys the parts that we have so far that are all busted. So look down here. All right, so this is a piece of the frame rail on the left side. This is where the passenger side would be. where the headlight goes here, it's all smashed in. And then right behind it, if you look at it, that's the core support or the center area that holds the radiator, along with the driver's side frame rail right here. You can see all this got pretty beat up, so we just ended up chopping it all off. And then if you look at this right here, I don't know if you guys can actually tell what that is, but this is supposed to be the driver's side fender. As you can tell, it's completely smashed in. And then you go ahead and look at the passenger side fender, and it doesn't really look that bad, but obviously there is some damage, so we're just gonna end up replacing it completely just to avoid having to repair something like that, especially since they are aluminum, which is not an easy material to work with. And then we have here the intercooler piping. Also, some of it got messed up, so we're gonna have to end up replacing that. And then if you look at this, there's like a little bottom support area where the front motor mount actually sits, got messed up. And then this piece right here is actually part of the reinforcement bar that also got kind of smashed in. And then we have right behind it some of the fog light assembly. The radiator obviously got smashed in. The intercooler is completely destroyed. Another piece of the reinforcement bar is back there. And then the hood, it got completely damaged on the driver's side also. As you can tell, it's just completely like smashed in. So these are a lot of the parts that we need to go ahead and look for, because we're gonna need to order. So upon inspecting the engine after I took it out, I looked through it everywhere. Everything seems to be perfect. Nothing was cracked, nothing was damaged, apart from like the little things that I showed you guys earlier. The motor mount bracket actually bent, but it didn't break off or it didn't mess with the bolts or nothing. So that's amazing that none of that actually got, touched. It was all unharmed. So that's the main part that you really worry about, because it's the most expensive part of the car. So the teardown is complete. Got every single part that is messed up out of the car. Now I have to go ahead and compile a big list, obviously, because there are a ton of messed up parts. So now that once we have that list compiled, I can start calling places, figuring out who has a part out, looking everywhere that I can. Obviously, there's a lot of companies that I go through that I deal with that most of the time have cars like this. So I'm just gonna compile a list, search for prices, the best pricing, just to try to get the best deal possible, because EVO parts are not cheap, but we're gonna still try to keep it underneath a reasonable budget. So this is the step one. If you guys end up getting a crashed car, or a crashed EVO or something like this, you wanna make sure you tear it all down, inspect everything, find out what you need, and then start ordering stuff. So till next time, as always, you guys have a great day.